Dominion was designed by Donald X. Vaccarino and published by Rio Grande, and it's a deck building game where everybody has their own little kingdom that they all want to grow into the mightiest of dominions. And you're going to do this by playing cards from your own deck, hoping to get more money and more action cards to beef your deck up in order to start getting the estates, the duchies, and the provinces that you need to get the most points in order to win. This game has a massive reputation. It has received countless awards ever since it was first released back in 2008. But just because the game wins an award doesn't mean it's good. Is this one of the good ones? Did it deserve the awards? Let's find out. The theme of the game of this whole you're a small little monarch of a small little kingdom and you are trying to grow it into the greatest of dominions is completely pasted on. There are a couple cards in the game that have slight veneers of theme to them. For example, the spy lets you look at some players' hands and maybe even discard them. Or in the witch, you play the witch, everyone gains a curse. You know, that makes sense thematically. But most of these cards have no thematic tie-in to what they are based on. Like, what does getting $2 and getting an extra buy have to do with woodcutting? What does drawing 3 cards have to do with smithing? What does being able to trash a bunch of cards have to do with a chapel? I mean, there are just many cards in this game that not once have I played this and went, yeah, it doesn't feel like it. I feel like I'm woodcutting. I feel like I'm going to a village. I feel like I'm lending money. Like, never. At no point during this game did I feel like I was really building a kingdom. And that's a bit of a shame because I enjoy the theme of the medieval ages and I love kingdom building. I love suit building. I just love anything related to just building civilizations, building cities, building buildings even. I'm a huge fan of the building type of theme. And even if it is sometimes overused. And the fact that I feel like they could have integrated the theme of building this kingdom into the game a little bit more if they had made the cards for the different actions that you could obtain feel like they matched the type of cards that you were getting. And I think that was a bit of a mistake that they didn't go for it. Like I said, there are a couple cards that kind of work thematically, but altogether the thing doesn't come through. The components for both versions of the base game are okay, and I say that because there's just cards in here. There's nothing else, and I don't mind that. I like card games, and a lot of people are annoyed with the fact that they have the black borders around the cards because of this thing where they'll show their wear a lot sooner than a white border. I don't necessarily mind that. My biggest issue with the components is that the artwork is completely inconsistent with each other. And the reason why the art is so inconsistent is because there are 9 different artists who worked on this game, each of which were working with their own styles. Now, I'm not saying that any of these people are bad artists or anything like that. In fact, I actually enjoyed most of the artwork that's on the cards, but I always prefer consistent art because that helps me kind of get into the game. Whereas if I'm looking at one card that has one type of person's art on it, and then I pick up another card and I see that it's a completely different style, it kind of disconnects me from this world that they're trying to build. But thankfully, you don't really need to pay attention to the art. You just really need to understand the abilities of the cards and the symbols on the cards, which thankfully, the symbology and the text of the cards is very easy to understand. At no point during the game have I ever had to question, what does this do? What does this do? What does this do? So while the components are a bit off in terms of style and appearance, functionally, the components are perfectly fine. The game is incredibly easy to understand. On your turn, you draw 5 cards. If you have an action, you can play 1 action. If you've played all the actions you can buy 1 thing, put all the cards in your discard, and move on. Very easy to understand. Very much at a gateway level in terms of complexity. I can definitely see this as being seen as someone to try to introduce them to gaming if they had not really played a lot of games before, but also is capable of bringing out for someone who wants something just a lot more casual for something to play. The gameplay I found to be incredibly fun, and there's a couple reasons why that is. First of all, like I said, because turns are so simple, just play some cards, buy new ones, move on, turns go so fast. There have been a couple times where I've played this game and I had to shuffle my deck, and I've ended up not being done shuffling my deck by the time it came back to my turn again, even with the full complement of 4 players, which is great because this game I think works equally well with all with all the player counts, and that's pretty rare. Usually when I play a game, I'll say that this game I think works best with 4 or 3, or maybe best with 2, when it can play up to 4. But this is one of the rare times where a game I think can play well with every single player count that it has been designed for. The other reason why I absolutely love the gameplay is because there is so much customization you can do for this game. Some of these games are kind of story driven, or the same. The first time you play is, despite a little bit of changes, will be mostly the same in the 5th time you play. This game is practically impossible unless you try. It's very unlikely you're going to play 2 games of Dominion that are identical to each other, because there are 28 decks that come with the base game alone, but only 10 get used every game. And because only 10 get used, you can basically then customize every game of Dominion to fit what you want. You want a game where everybody's going after each other, everyone's attacking each other, stealing things. You can add every attack card in the game that you want. And you can even choose to be able to defend yourself or not, just by throwing the mode in or keeping it out. You want to have a game where everyone is basically just on their own, playing solitaire the whole time. You can just get rid of any confrontational cards whatsoever. Want an extra way to earn points in the game? Throw in the Garden. Want a game that lets you do so much that you can draw most of your deck out in one turn? You can throw in all the cards in that let you draw. The amount of customization that you can do with this game is just almost uncalculable. And the fact that there is so many ways you can customize it adds so much replay value to the game. This is a game that I have played it countlessly ever since I got it, and not one time have we ever played a game that even felt similar to each other. Overall, this is just an excellent card game. I have had countless success every time I've brought this game out. Yeah, I've even taught new people who haven't really played games before, and they loved it right out of the gate. If you are looking for a game to either maybe introduce somebody to gaming, or maybe you already have a game group and you're looking for something more casual to play on a game day, you cannot go wrong with this. Then overall, this is an excellent card game. Definitely well deserved all the rewards that it obtained. If you are looking for a game that maybe you want to introduce somebody to gaming, or maybe you're looking for a more casual game that your game group can play on a game day, or you're just looking for another game in general, I would definitely recommend this. I'm going to give Dominion a 9.5 out of 10. To this day, this is still one of my most favorite, not only card games of all time, but one of my most favorite games of all time. So with all that said, what are your thoughts on Dominion? Do you love the game? Do you hate it? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to learn my thoughts on more games, or if you want to learn how to play more or unbox more, then make sure you subscribe to the channel for more tutorials, reviews, and unboxings. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.